Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. My name is Sophia Pallozzi. Today we will be discussing the long-awaited upgrade of the Purchase College women's softball field, which has been in the works for at least 5 years. The field, used primarily by the women's softball team, has continuously had issues with its conditions, such as flooding, multiple holes in the fence and the dugout, graffiti, and litter in the dugout that does not get cleaned. This is due to the recent loss of the facilities manager for the women's team, while the men's team still has a manager in place. The new multi-use turf field will provide our athletes with a new athletic space, and the promised renovation will hopefully be finished in the spring of 2025. I am here with Katherine Combe and Wright, two players on the softball team who have witnessed these conditions. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having us.
Of course. So Katherine, what is the quality on the current field like right now?
So ever since I came as a freshman, I walked on to the team. I've noticed, like even during my tryouts, that our outfield is like very bumpy. It's not even ground. So, and I have a bad ankle, so it kind of makes it risky, especially for me running on it. And then our outfield especially has a big ditch that just fills up with water every time it rains. So we used to have to clean it out ourselves because of the lack of a facilities manager. And then our fence just continues getting like riddled with holes, and then our dugout keeps falling apart. Like the wood is like sprinkling on the ground. So it kind of just, it's not safe essentially for any of us. And yeah.
Yeah, it sounds very unsafe. Cameron, what do you feel like about the field's conditions?
I've definitely noticed a ton of the problems that Kat was talking about. There's definitely like graffiti in the dugouts that I've noticed, and then holes in the fences, and then definitely I visited back in May when I was deciding on a college, and saw a lot of the like bumpiness in the infield. I didn't really see the outfield, but I was like, oh shoot, I'm kind of nervous to play here and like play on this field, but it's been all right and playable.
Okay. Katherine, how would this new field resolve these issues?
Well, mainly because the dirt that we have right now is so that it doesn't allow us to field grounders properly. So basically there's times where we're fielding and it jumps up and it hits us in the face. And there was one instance where a teammate of ours got hit directly in the mouth. So it kind of made her bleed a little bit. So it was kind of just, it's really a safety hazard. So I feel like if we had like that new turf that, again, we were promised, but I feel like that can just settle like our nervousness when we're on the field. I feel like that's part of the reason like we hesitate sometimes, because like we're afraid like, you know, we're gonna get hit in the face because we don't know like where the ball is gonna end up. So yeah.
Right. Cameron, how would this new field for you better the conditions?
I feel like definitely consistent reps is a really important thing. Obviously during practice, knowing like how it's going to be on other fields, it's definitely like a shock to go from field to field when there's such a big difference in quality. So I feel like a turf field would really help us not only get consistent reps, but also have that comfortability that Kat was talking about, being able to like run around, like people with injuries being comfortable to run around and like really just put the effort in during plays.
Awesome. So what do you guys know about the progress of the new field? Were you guys kept up to date about anything?
So no, not really to where we were hoping we would get updated as much. Basically, last year is when we actually had an official meeting about it. Meanwhile, they've been telling us we're getting a new field for, again, like over the past 6-7 years. So last year was the first time we've ever had a meeting. And then from there, they were like, the field will be done by that fall. And it never, obviously it's not done yet.
What year was that?
This was, I want to say it was last fall. So last school year, 2023. we had a meeting, and then we came back and we had another meeting. So then he was like, the field will be done at least by the fall. They were going to start construction in the summer, and they never did. So then they were telling our coach that, oh, it's being pushed back, and now they're saying it's supposed to be getting renovated right now, but a few of our teammates have went there and it's not being done.
There's nothing.
There's nothing. So the turf is still right behind the softball field, just sitting there, so there's no work being done. The only thing that I think they've been working on is probably the lights, which, again, it's kind of just, you know, we've been waiting for so long for a field, and there's still, like, no update as of right now, and that last update was, I want to say, in, like, late September.
Right. Okay. Cameron, do you feel heard with the athletics department?
I haven't really, I'm a freshman, so I haven't really gone to any people in positions of power in the athletics department, but I've definitely been talking to a few of my teammates and the captains and everything, trying to put together practices. I know there's been a lot of issues trying to even get times in like the small gym. There's a lot of issues with that and them feeling unheard, and then I feel like definitely with this field conditions, I feel like there's been pushback that hasn't been received very well.
Right. So the men's baseball team had their field redone years ago. Do you feel like the men's sports at the school are prioritized more than the women's sports?
I would say yeah. They have a history of, you know, like more wins than the female teams, which I get, like you want to prioritize the teams that are winning, but if you're not supporting the teams that are, you know, like failing in quote unquote, then there's no room for you to grow as a program. So there's a lot of issues in terms of that, in my personal opinion, because, you know, like I grew up thinking like both teams are equal. That's how my like leagues were. That's how my teams were in high school. We were all on an equal par with each other. So just coming here and just having that big shift to where like they barely care about the softball and like other women's sports and like our funding and all. So yeah, I feel like there's a clear division in that. So yeah.
Yeah. Cameron, you're a freshman, so how do you feel coming into the school and seeing that kind of diversity there?
I feel like definitely, like Kat said, it was very jarring with the difference in prioritization of our teams. As I said, the issues getting the gym for practices and everything, I don't know a ton about it, but I've heard like, oh yeah, baseball got it instead of us, and it's like, why did baseball get it instead of us? Because they have a turf field that they could be playing on right now. If it's cold, if it's rainy out.
They don't even practice here in general. They barely practice in their own field. They barely practice in the gym. They go to a different facility because their coach pays for it. And that's another thing. Their coach is a high up in the athletic department. He runs like the student workers, and he's, yeah, so it's kind of just insane.
Yeah. Going off of that, are you aware of the possible Title IX violation? That is, it's not in place, but there might, you know, there's a possible violation. This includes sexism, specifically in comparison to facilities giving priority to the men's baseball team. Yeah. How do you feel about that?
We discussed it a bit last year with our coach, how if we want to put in a Title IX claim that we can, and we have reasons to do that considering our field. And then last year we had a situation with uniforms. So that was, so yeah, at least for me, like I'm pretty aware of it, and just, yeah, I mean, considering the baseball team got their field 2013 and just had renovations done last year, kind of just it doesn't seem fair considering we've been waiting for years. So
Right.
yeah.
I feel like I heard about the possible renovation while they were recruiting me, and then I've also talked to a lot of teammates having heard like 2, 3, 4 years ago, oh, we're probably going to have this turf field in the spring. And so I just want to know how early before 2013 did the baseball players hear that that they were going to get a turf field, just because I doubt that it's that long of a, that long of a hold for them. Yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you guys for your input. I really appreciate it. And thank you for tuning into Purchase Broadcast Studios. I'm here with Katherine Combe and Cameron Wright. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you.